Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. The Nigerian youth is easily a demographic majority considering an estimated population of 68 million Nigerian youth. That's an entire nation. Put in context, this is twice the population of Ghana, more than the population of South Africa, and bigger than the population of the United Kingdom. If the Nigerian youth population were to be a nation, it would be the fourth largest country in Africa and 19th in the world. By sheer numerical strength, it would therefore be a major country. We have in the studio two gentlemen who are going to look at youth in governance with us this morning. A human resource practitioner, Mr. Yomi Fawehinmi, who's most of the time here talking about education. But today is going to be talking about youth in governance. And Adekunle Oshibogo, who is a youth advocate.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us today. Let's look back a bit before we start the conversation. Shehu Shagari was a federal legislator at 30, and he became a minister at 35. Yakubu Gowon became head of state at 32, 33. Maitama Sule became oil minister at 29. Rashid Badamosi became a commissioner in Lagos State at 28, going on 29. I mean, those things have happened in our country, guys. So why did we need special legislation to say that youth could actually run for office in Nigeria? Let me start with you, sir.
Okay, interesting. You said I always come and talk about education. It gets back to education. So all the people you mentioned their names. So some of them did not have more than a secondary school certificate at the point they went to become ministers.
But
the
school set was different
education
then.
They had was significant for that to do that. So that's the tie into education. But beyond that is also the legislative framework. So for example, the 1963 Constitution of Nigeria had a lower age to become a governor or to become a commissioner or to become a minister. So it was the last constitution that we increased the age. That's not the traditional thing we have done. So what has happened is that, one, we have made the education system less effective, so perhaps the cerebral capacity of the Nigerian youth is not as much as it used to be. We have also created a roadmap in terms of the law.
That's hard to believe.
That, well,
people are more educated now. So the age should actually go down more now.
You know, it's difficult to really measure education. It's not because you passed a subject that makes you educated.
True.
What we call education in Nigeria is schooling. So that's why it's possible for you to have somebody who is a medical doctor that is struggling with health habits that will kill him. So he's schooled in medicine, but not educated in health. So that's part of what we're dealing with. Now, part of this whole structure is what were the things that made people to get there then. One, again, many of the people you mentioned, there was no system in place when they came up. They just emerged, right? So there was no godfather at that point. And so what has happened in our case is that there are now entrenched interests that makes it there. But also, there's also the very interesting part that it's not as if the youth have not gotten chances too. We had a speaker that was also under 40 in this same republic.
Bankole?
Yes, the Beji Bankole, who was supposed to be our own Macron. But what happened?
Where is he?
It must be somewhere around. Interestingly, the youngest governor in Nigeria is the governor of Kogi State. What is the difference in Kogi State? So the point I'm trying to make is that sometimes I feel all these arguments about age and not age. It's not really about it. I think it's about leadership capability. You see a young person that has a capacity to lead. It doesn't make a difference. You could also see an old person who has no capacity. Yeah. He could be a good man. Yeah. He could have great intentions. He could be a very anti-corruption fighter. But he has a capacity to lead because they're two separate things. And one of the things we have done is that we have modeled a lot of things up and assume it's about hate. So I think we need to get back to the point where we start to maybe deliberately develop leadership capacity in our people to do that. Of course, you know, one of the things that also happened, education, is the fact that those people did subjects in school like history, like civics. That let people know what were the rights of citizens, what were expected from them. But what do our children learn in school today? Does it prepare them to become, because you first become a citizen before you become a leader in a typical democracy system. So it's all of those things that has changed. And maybe that's what led to the idea of us saying, okay, we need a new law to make it possible for people to run at a lower level.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Mr. Shibogo, you are a youth advocate. Now look forward and tell me if you see any young person who's going to be able to rule this country in the next 5-10 years.
Thank you for that question. I'll start by first saying that there are, but unfortunately the system wouldn't let them come up. Now, what we have...
In other words, you don't see it happening? Because that is my question. It's not whether they exist, it's whether you see it coming to fruition.
I do see it coming.
Can it happen?
It can happen. It can happen. And that's if we want it to happen. And
there's an if.
Yes, there's always an if. And I'll tell you why, ma'am. Right now, if we want to be realistic, our political arena is highly monetized, right? And that's what keeps a lot of the youth out of the political space. The legislation that was passed, whilst it's applauded, gives more political power, but the issue of economic power amongst the youth is a key issue. I would write on that by saying, if we even take a survey of the leading political parties and look at the amount that they use for the tickets, aspiration forms, it's quite ridiculous. You can't find any young man who's in legitimate business being able to afford that.
Okay.
So there are quite a number of them, but it's only if we, and I say we, I mean the nation as a whole, decide to let these young people come up.
But this is now the subject of a lot of discourse in the nation. Do you see all this discussion about this bringing any reform or correction to the status quo?
Well, provided it stays in media space, it will surely, because I know there are young men who are actually getting involved in politics now, I being one of them. And what we find out is the challenge that's been put on us, that look, you have to take responsibility of your future, you have to be more active, you have to be more involved, is what has let a few of us step out from our comfort zone and step into the arena and see what we can do. So I think the longer we keep it in, the more people will the more young people will get encouraged. And if we can find a way to resolve that economic issue, economic power issue, I'm sure we will find a lot more young, competent people in political space.
What party is
allow me
yours?
to also...
That's the Social Democratic Party.
Okay.
If you allow me to also, just to add to what is said, I mean, one very interesting word from the Holy Book says, the labor of a fool will reason because he does not know the way to the city. Ideas rule the world, not money. If the youth have money and don't have a strategy, they will not get there. So let's get back to the time of Awolowo and Zeke. They didn't have money, but they had a strategy. So let's give you the example of Awolowo, for example. Awolowo had a newspaper that he was using to get influence. Awolowo was the secretary of the Transport Union. The same way like an Adam Oshiomhole became a governor. So you realize that when we say they are young, it's not as if it's just the age. They also had a strategy. I mean, Obama had a strategy. That's how he became president the way he became. Everybody is talking about Ocasio. Ocasio is 28 years old, defeated an incumbent that has had 7 terms in the President Party in the House of Reps in America. She had a strategy. For me, I think beyond the money part, because the money is important, I'm not going to underrate that, is the fact that, so what's the strategy for anyone who wants to take political power, or whether it's even taken up by a job or whatsoever? I mean, if I want a job in channels, I need a strategy. There's a way I need to go about it. So while we talk about the money fact, there's also the need for us to talk about the strategic part. What strategies are we using? What is the easiest way to make it happen? Can you imagine if Barack Obama ran for US president without ever being a senator? Would he have won? When John Kerry was going to run as a Democratic candidate, he asked Obama to give a speech at the convention. That was what brought him to the limelight. So the point is that he did not just run. I always tell my friends that we have too many people.
He had pedigree.
There are too many helicopter politicians in Nigeria. You know what? You know the difference between helicopter and aeroplane? You know, for you to have a plane, you have runway. You will tie it. So before a plane can land, he has done a lot of things. But helicopter, Helicopter can land anywhere. So what happens is that there's this guy doing well in a bank in Lagos or Nakure or wherever, and suddenly says, they're not allowing young people to run for office. I want to go and become governor. I mean, and then like I told somebody, I said, you know what? Where you work, can I just show up tomorrow and say, you're not allowing people that have beards to become MD. I want to become MD. I mean, so I think we need to have that deliberate strategy. I give the example of Ocasio because that's not even what is the story. That's what happened this year. What did Ocasio do? Ocasio looked for an area that had people like her. So when we say we have 70% or so of youth, are youth deliberately looking for areas where the youth votes? One of the things Ocasio also did that was also very, very important in the way she won the election was that Ocasio was looking for people that were not voting before to vote for her. So let's assume there were 20 people in our community, 10 always vote. Ocasio targeted the 10 that didn't vote and made them vote for her, which was the same strategy Obama used. What has happened again is that in an attempt to get political power by young people is that we're chasing the same people who vote, who have developed a system of voting, a pattern of voting, a mindset that a vote is a tradable item.
Do you think so, Mr. Fawehinmi? Because I think that they say there are 68 million young people in Nigeria. Do you think that if a young man came out tomorrow who has a vision that, let's say, even 20 million of the 68 million key into, that resonates with them, you think they won't come out and vote for him?
We need to go on a quick break.
Right.
Please don't go ahead.